Some pilots put away their powered parachutes for the winter, but flying during the colder months can be enjoyable. The colder air and low humidity offer more lift, and the atmosphere tends to be more stable than in the summertime. It was 2 days before Christmas, and weather underground was showing calm winds and temperatures in the 50s, so I decided to head to the airfield. When I arrived at the airfield, there was no wind, but by the time I finished the pre-flight and the engine warm-up, a pretty stiff crosswind made me wonder if I would actually get to fly. My runway is only 50 feet wide, and there are some hillsides and obstacles, so if there is wind, it's important that it's blowing straight down the runway, not 90 degrees across the runway, as was the case here. You want to take off directly into the wind, so the chute quickly stabilizes overhead. Crosswind can lead to a rollover or being blown into an obstacle. In short, I just didn't trust the wind a whole lot that day. Just didn't seem to be very consistent. The chute inflated pretty quickly, but it was oscillating a bit. And as you can see, I lift off here briefly and feel like I'm being blown to the right a little bit. So I set it back down, but then I decided to go for it. And you'll see that I get bounced around quite a bit. Once I got to 200 feet, the air became smoother, and I was hoping that the crosswind would die before it was time to land, but that would not be the case. I notice here that my strobe light isn't working, so I'll put that on my to-do list to get that fixed. The strobe should be blinking, which allows other aircraft to see me from up to 3 miles away, which is definitely important. I love the area I fly in. It's in southwestern Virginia, and I'm surrounded by mountains. Much of the time I'm over fields and farms, and I always try to be careful not to scare the livestock. I certainly don't want to irritate anyone with my flying machine. I usually fly at an altitude of about 300 to 600 feet, but it is fun to fly down low and explore. It's important to know the area before going too low, so you don't fly into power lines. That's how some people get injured in powered parachutes. Sometimes I see farmers out on their tractors, and I like to go down and say hello. It's amazing to me that I don't see many people outside while I'm flying, even during the summer months. It's like everyone just stays in their house all the time. And of course, I see a lot of cars. Someone asked me about the purpose of the mirror. It's used to check the chute while taking off, but I always look at the chute itself. And truthfully, I could do without the mirror, but I like the way it looks in the videos. It adds a little bit of color. If you have any questions about flying a powered parachute, please leave them in the comments section. I'll do my best to answer them in future videos. And I appreciate those who have subscribed to my channel. I enjoy flying and sharing my experiences with people who are interested. Flying a powered parachute is fun and easy as aviation goes. And I believe there are many people who would like to do it but simply don't know enough about it. Some people believe they could never fly in an open cockpit aircraft because they have a fear of heights, but really they have a fear of falling, which is natural. I don't like to stand on the edge of a roof and look straight down, but in a powered parachute, the movement has a calming effect. People often ask if you need a license to fly a powered parachute. I need a license for this one that I fly because it has 2 seats, holds more than 5 gallons of gas, and weighs over 254 pounds, but no license is required for single-seaters as long as they meet the weight and fuel regulations. Because I have a two-seater and can carry a passenger, my plane must be registered with the FAA. I have an N number, and I'm also required to have it inspected annually. And every 2 years I have to do a flight review with an instructor. For anyone who's thinking about getting into the sport, I would recommend starting with the single-seater to avoid the hassles that come with the regulations. Get some good instruction and learn to fly safely. I'm willing to deal with the regulations because I do enjoy flying my friends and family members. Well, it was time to land, and I had hoped the wind had died, but that pesky crosswind was still blowing across the runway. Well, this was the first attempt to land, and you may notice that the aircraft is crabbing into the wind, meaning that the craft is facing a bit to the left, but flying straight toward the runway. It's a bit of a strange feeling. I was careful to keep some altitude because I didn't want a gust to blow me into the trees to the right. But overall, I just wasn't feeling this landing. And I rarely have to go around, but I don't mind if I have to. In this case, I did. A little strange in this zone. See a good crosswind down there. Gonna go for it. All right. Not too bad up in the air, but pretty bouncy down here near the ground. But overall, a great flight for December. It's a nice Christmas gift.